I've seen so much content on, specifically, really at the moment, on Liam Payne, um, with his untimely passing, and just some content creators just do not stop hammering the topic. You know, it just I get really fed up with this gossip shit that happens around social media and even news outlets anyway. And one thing I think's different to what I do, really, I talk about my life, my experiences, and all sorts of things like that. And sometimes there are topics I'll talk upon, but I think the difference really, and I was thinking, it just come to mind. I thought the difference is that I actually talk about my own life a lot. A lot of these people who gossip about other people's lives like it's entertainment, like they're acting like they're like a news outlet of social media content, you know. So they constantly talk about other people, but rarely, if any, time do they ever talk upon themselves. And I just think that's ridiculous because I bet as soon as someone talks about them, they won't like it at all. So, and I find that crazy. So, in reality is, if you can't talk about yourself, don't talk about someone else. And I think that's a good lesson to learn because it goes both ways, you know. Like I'm always talking about myself. I'm an open book. I share most things that go on in my life, my past experiences, and all the ups and downs. And people can form opinions and all sorts of things based on how I behave. Because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. I stand by everything I do and say, of course. But if someone else may form a different opinion based off that, but fine. But what I don't do is hide myself. Don't pretend to be anything other than myself. And like I say, I talk far more about myself than I do of anybody else. So when I talk of another situation or someone, I feel, to be honest, if I'm talking upon it, it's justified, in my opinion. But I leave myself open and exposed in other areas of my life. So it's not a case of, you try and sit on your high horse and you sit there just gossiping all day long because that's what a lot of these people do. And I just think it's sad and pathetic. There's one, I think it was, what's his freaking name? Something Perez. I saw his content a long time ago. He's not my sort of, not saying I'm really interested, always been the celebrity gossip person, crazy. And I always thought, what on earth? It's just this obsession with other celebrities and an obsession with this thing. And they act like they're providing news. And he reported on the Liam Payne thing. And at first you thought, okay, he's being reasonable with it. But since then, I think I've seen about 5 or 6 videos from him about the latest on this situation. It's like, mate, let it work its way through. Yeah, let's let time heal a little bit here. Let's let and see what really comes through. Don't need to hear every little bloody thing as it comes through. It's like, God damn, let Jesus Christ, let people just come to terms with it. Driving me nuts. So, and the news are the same. I think it's pathetic the way they hound on people. It's almost like when someone goes for a mauling and it's public like this, people are expected to release statements quickly, otherwise they're seen as like they don't care. People mourn in different ways. Like when it comes to passings with me, I tend to mourn in a different way to most. Like I'll get emotional the nearer the time. So like when there's a funeral or something, that's when I'll truly process it because then that's when you're acknowledging that person's not going to be there anymore. That's if I'm going to get emotional, it'd be then. I'm not one that's really. I don't go incredibly emotional the moment I hear about it because I'm more of someone that's in shock. Like I'm trying to come to terms with what the hell happened here. When I was younger, I lost my best friend. See, a lot of people don't know my story, my life. They know certain parts, don't know all of it. It didn't happen to me, did it? It happened to them. So I had friends that I was like some of my best friends at school, high school. Um, we weren't best friends the whole way through high school. We was friends throughout high school, but towards the end, we started becoming real good friends. And then we went off. We went to college together. And then after college, we was playing sports and stuff like football, soccer in the park. We used to just go regularly together, um, and they were great. And then one day, um, they were going somewhere. I think they were asking me to go. I didn't want to go somewhere, and they went. They had a car at that point, um, and for some reason, I don't know. This was back in the day when you could use cell phones, mobile phones in the car, and they were driving. I don't know what happened in that situation, but they had a car crash, hit a transformer, and the car set on fire. Lost them that day. Um, my brother is the one that told me because he heard about it from word of mouth. I don't know how people found out about it back in the day. This wasn't when the internet was around so much back then. I don't think the internet existed then, and it was in the newspaper. And since then, they've changed one of the parents has advocated for speed changes, and they have. It's annoying as hell when you're driving, but I know the deep reason why that happened. But the point is, we all process mourning in different ways. I didn't accept the loss. As soon as I heard, no. So I'm like, I think we did have phones back that mobile. We had mobile phones back then, but it was like really old, the early ones. So I was trying to phone them, and I couldn't. They weren't answering. So I think I left a message. Of course, they're not there. In your mind, they are. They'll answer. They'll answer. Of course, they never did. Back then, I was a lot younger then. I was like 16, I think, 15, 16, 17, no, maybe 8, 17. I can't remember. And we had a family trip to Florida. I've never been to Florida before. And it literally coincided with the funeral. So I had to go on. Well, we say had to, but, I was obligated. So I went on the holiday. So I didn't know the arrangements for the funeral anyway. It's not, I knew them, not the people around them, like family members and things. So the whole holiday, that's at the back of my mind, and no one around me knew, because I'm not someone that talks about things like that all the time. I don't go around telling everyone, I hope, do you know that this happened? I'm more of a private person, in that sense. So, yeah, my family, unless I said something out of thing, they wouldn't have known the depth of it all. So, of course, everybody's enjoying themselves. In the back of my mind, I've got this lingering over my head. And then my stepbrother, who lived in Tampa, Florida, he's showing off a little bit in his car. So I had to I had to go in the car with him for some reason. It's just the way it worked out. And he was driving like an animal. And I was like, no. I said, I'm not getting in with him. So I'm not doing that. Bear in mind what happened, I'm not risking that shit. But like I say, it didn't happen to me, it happened to them. But it's how the point really is how we process trauma, how we process loss. You could say he didn't go to the funeral, so he didn't care. I'm not a funeral type person anyway. I don't like those social gatherings to say goodbye. I process it in my own time. Doesn't mean you don't care. I've still got the clipping to this day from the newspaper. Not that I look at it; it's traumatic. But that was me keeping a memory of of a situation, I guess. And it's still in my mind. It doesn't just go away. When you think about your childhood, and you think, why was I lonely? Why was I lonely a lot through certain periods of my life? Like you finish school, you go finish college, you go to work, you start jobs. People tell you about what they're up to at the weekend. Well, yeah, I'm not really doing much. Not doing too much. And that's all they see. They just see someone, they think maybe you're antisocial, maybe you just don't do a lot. It's like, no, I just lost all my friends. That's what happened. But like I say, I share a lot of my life. I share it publicly. I talk about it, but it's like, it's not something I don't hide. And I think too many of these people that report on news and they report about other people's lives, they're not transparent. A lot of the time they'll paint themselves like they're this, they're that. And it's like, mate, you'll probably know better than what you're talking about. You're quick to judge these people, but you probably know better, and you probably got this sinister side to you too. It's like insidious thing. So yeah, I hate gossip channels. I think it's more empowering to tell your story. I think it helps provide some sort of. I think it helps some sort of relief, some healing to other people who've maybe experienced something similar. And it's okay how you process things. I'm far more of a I'm public in what I speak about, but in my in my home life, I'm very private. I don't bother people. I don't phone someone up and say, "Oh, do you mind if we can have a chat?" I don't bother. I don't need to. I'll just process shit on my own. I can figure it out. It's fine. Yeah, and I've learned people don't really reach out too much anyway. It goes full circle. I don't reach out to them. They don't reach out to me. I've just become very independent. Very independent. I talk to my mum nearly every day. Message my daughter regularly. Sometimes we do video chats, but I give her a space. Like recently, like sometimes we just keep sending so many funny videos through TikTok. So I create serious content, but I'm not serious all the time. And there's some hilarious stuff that me and her just share between each other, and we laugh our head off. And it's nice. So effectively, and I was thinking about it yesterday, and it's true. It's like she's like literally. She has more people around her. But I don't know. We all have our own little lives, but in terms of like her to me, she's my best friend. And I think she'll always be my best friend. Yeah, because we're so alike. Our personalities are just in tune. Like we're literally the same in so many ways, and it's beautiful to have that. So I think it's like that saying, and I said it recently, like God if gives and takes away. So it took important people from my life at a period where I could it's quite a vulnerable period of your life, where it's setting you up for your future. But then one day I was given the most beautiful gift you could have given me, and yeah, I'm blessed for that. So life isn't always great. We can always have things go wrong, of course, and feel the loss and sadness in certain moments. And one tragedy doesn't mean it's the end of those tragedies. You're going to come across a few more, sometimes more personal than other times. But what I think is important, you give people room to breathe. And I think, like for instance, with this Liam Payne situation, let people mourn in their own ways. If someone doesn't attend a funeral, it doesn't mean they didn't care. It's not for them to have to. People shouldn't have to present themselves in a way that makes other people comfortable, because that's what I will not do. And I don't care how people judge me for it. For instance, we had my uncle's funeral back. I can't remember when it was now. I think it was last year. Can't remember exactly when now. It's a bit sad. But time moves so fast for me. I can't keep track. And the family at that point, because it depends on the family member that goes, as to who goes. But of course, it being my mum's brother, it brought out more of the family than I knew. And there was a bit of conflict here and there. And I was like, I can't be asked. I don't really want to do all that shit. I don't want to pretend to be nice to people. I won't do it. And on a day like that, you don't need issues. And also, in all honesty, my spirituality has developed to such an extent at that period. I'm like, I don't really believe in it. For me, the soul was left, and it's descended back into spirit, into the astral, into its next transition. So we're mourning. Look, this seems morbid, but to me, it's like it was just a vessel. We're mourning a vessel that's no longer active. That's just how I feel, And it's like that is offending to a lot of people, but it's okay. I don't mean to offend, and I don't pussyfoot around topics though. But it's like just accept. Don't make me go into it. I don't want to have to explain that part. Just let me mourn in my own way. So I literally sat in this bed here, and I shut my eyes and I just asked. I just said, I hope he's at peace. This was before the funeral. Before funeral had been announced, I said, I hope he's at peace. And I kid you not, I felt this. My body shifted quickly, and I'm spiritual. And I've got a lot of gifts, a lot of which I haven't unlocked yet, or I'm not aware of. But I felt an immense peace immediately. This wasn't me trying to preempt anything. It was strange. So I've got this really sense of peace over my body. And everyone else, what I've asked, I hope he's at peace. I felt peace immediately. That was a confirmation. Then I started in my mind. I was lifting from my body, and I was like, oh, okay. At that point, I opened my eyes. I didn't want to do, because you can do astral projection, all sorts. I didn't need more than that. He's obviously at peace. The night before he died, I live alone, and I could hear on the other side of my bedroom door 2 voices talking, a male and a female. I didn't get up because that was some weird shit. I'm not opening up that sort of channels, So I left that closed. And then the next day is when I found out that he had passed, and I thought that was serious. That was some crazy shit. But the reality is, based on my experiences, do I need to then make a public declaration? Because who's that for? Is it for them? Is it for me? Or is it for other people? It's for other people. They already know I've asked. I hope they're okay. They know I'm thinking about them. We had a connection where they've shown me. So what's the funeral for? The funeral is for the other family members and the people that know, to make them feel comfortable. I'm not here to make other people comfortable, though. So, like, people might think it's arrogance, and they might think, oh, this person self-centered. Think what you want. I know how to say goodbye in private, and I'm happy to do, and that's how I do it now. Now, that was my understanding back then. My understanding has developed a bit, which maybe make me broaden my mind a bit more, but it doesn't mean I will change the way I behave. I don't know yet. So what I've learned since then through medium sessions with other people, gifted individuals, I found out that although they have transitioned to spirit into source, when it's their farewell, they do observe. So they actually do observe, and they do enjoy it. Now, they don't judge people for not doing it, because, they accept all that. There's no judgment on that side. But they do enjoy watching people celebrate their life. And I was like, oh, okay. See, I didn't know that then. And that's what I say. I'm always open. I'm always open to learning. And what I think in one moment isn't definitely how I'm going to think in the other moment. So I never feel regret, because how can I, when I was learning in that period? And like I was saying, They don't mind it if you don't. So it'd be up to me. It's like I've said to my mum when she passes, that's someone I hold sacred. I don't think I will say, honestly, I don't think I'm going to say bye to her with everybody else when her time comes. And I've said that to her. I don't think I'll do it because everybody's going to do my head in. They're vultures. You know, as soon as she goes, they'll be looking at all the things they could have from the home. That's some of the first things they'll do. I'm not doing none of that shit. I don't want that. That's not what I want. And I think that's what a lot of them will do, you know, my siblings. And I'm just going to leave the vultures to be vultures. If it makes you happy and it gives you some sort of like reward, take your reward. Go and take your treasure. I don't want it. And I don't want to be around people like that. So it's sad because it would be nice to have a celebration of her without them people. But unfortunately, they outnumber me. So as vocal as I am, in situations like that are deeply personal, you're not going to win. So unless, of course, there's an opportunity where she's with me, but then it's rude not to. Do you know what I mean? So like, if let's say I relocated to another country by then, and my mum was with me, and something happened, at that point, I've got to tell everybody else because you can't leave something like that from them. But at the same time, I don't even want to talk to them because I've pushed a lot. I've set boundaries with all of them, pretty much, most of them. But yeah, I said to my mum, like, I'll do it in private. And I even said it to my daughter. It's, you know, you can say you shouldn't be talking about things like that, but the reality is, you've got to be honest with people. You know, you can't act like thinking it's all cotton and candy here. Life is life. And I've said to her, I don't, you know, you don't have to do it publicly when it's my time to go. You don't have to do anything publicly. I'll be with you all the time. So all you've got to do is call. You know, so if you say it on your sofa, you just say, you know, bye or whatever. I'll make sure I'm there. So yeah, I'm not really that bothered about a celebration of me. I don't really need if I don't. Again, this goes full circle about talking about other people when you don't talk about yourself. It's how I treat people is how I expect to be treated. If I'm not interested in a celebration of other featuring in those things, I don't expect it of me either. In the past, I had sort of songs. Oh, you could play that now. I don't give a shit. It's like this is just my vessel. Once it's finished, I go back to source. You know, you're back at peace. Just that's it. That's how I see life. Again, it's probably got a deeper level than I planned to, and I certainly didn't intend to offend people. A lot of what I do will offend people because I make people think, and I have certain opinions that don't obviously align with others. But yeah, anyway, so that's what I say. When I talk on topics, it's because whatever I talk about or I have an opinion on, it's because I've thought about it within myself, and I have opinion of it from within. And then I share it. What I don't do is just play gossip and act like my life's perfect while I sort of sit there criticizing other people's lives. It's not about criticizing other people's lives, it's drawing attention to situations. So, for instance, this Lieutenant Dan situation that's happened since hurricane in Florida, it's really the lessons in life that you can gain from that circumstance rather than vilifying someone. That's not my point, which is why I don't talk about it all the time. I'm not a gossip channel. But it was like, if you can have humility, you would have been successful. But when you chose greed, you lost it all. It's a story within that. That's what the part I was showing. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of these gossip channels, and I have no time for them because all the time you just see it all the time. It's like they get excited. That's the sad part. They look like they're delivering you news, but inside they're excited as shit to deliver it because they realise their popularity is going to climb. And they're going to get money from it because their views. I don't get money from me. I left the Creator Fund earlier in the year because it was shit. I wasn't getting anything from it anyway. So I just removed myself from the Creator Fund. So I actually get nothing from any of the video content I create. I create it because I just want to help people. I want to draw people awareness to this situation or this topic, you know. These other people, they're vile. They're vile. They're not doing it for genuine purpose. They're doing it for their own desires. And that's why they don't stop with the same shit, same gossip. Anyway. Maybe they need a moment of reflection because one day maybe it'll be their time to be judged, and you can't complain when you've judged people your whole life, you know.